Well, it's time to get started. How we all doing? Hey, I hope everybody's doing well. I got a little tied up out in the alley here. I would have got started here a few minutes ago. We have dumpsters outside of our shop here, and they're garbage and disposal for our building, and we have folks coming through the alley and dumpster diving and doing that sort of stuff, and that happens in every city, and I don't care how small or big it is. But this young man asked me if we had to clean up a mess, and we did a couple days back, and I saw the guy who made the mess the night before I had to clean it up, and I approached him and said, I work in this building. I do not want to have to clean up a mess tomorrow. And of course, the very next day, everything that he had pulled out of the dumpster and thrown out in the alleyway beside our building was still there. So if you do that sort of activity, which you can make a lot of money collecting bottles and cans out of dumpsters and recycling bins, clean up and don't leave a mess. Be kind and respectful. And this young man was very respectful and gave me the name of the gentleman who, I'll call him a gentleman, who trashed our business, which cost me time at work. And, I don't want my clients coming into our shop having this big mess outside. So that tied me up for a few minutes. It was kind of cool. Let me say hello to Rogue and Charlie. Hello, man. Preston, hi. It's great to see you. Yeah, these guys are probably mostly homeless, and it's the way of the world right now, with the greed that landlords have expressed, with the greed for money and profit. A lot of people are homeless now. You have to work very, very hard. It's not. But there's no joke about that. So we're not here to talk about that. I just wanted to make it a point. Yeah, the world's a tough place, Preston. Indeed. If you can work, I do recommend going out and working. Okay, so let's take a look at this bad boy. You guys saw the guitar in the photograph that I put up. But first, I want to show you a couple things that are on the docket. I just received this today. It is a router attachment for a Dremel tool, because I get to put these Bartolini pickups, which are humbuckers. Look at how big that is. Yeah, it's a 6-string bass. I get to put these pickups in. Where are you? Hopefully get started on this tomorrow. I've already made some preemptive strikes, so you can see that I have drawn an outline of these pickups, and these need to fit in that hole. So I have some routering to do on this base. It's a Washburn. It's been modified by the original owner, and he unfortunately has left us, and his sister now owns it, and she's been a client of mine for a decade, and she brings her instruments in, and she keeps her instruments so clean. It's just beautiful, and she's a lefty, so we have a couple of left-handed guitars that she's given to us, she's encountered some health issues. So I have a lot of work to do on this one, which I may do video of that, I don't know, but gonna get to router out and put these pickups in this instrument. So that'll be a real fun project, and a very tedious, time-consuming, very, very careful job that I get to do. So really looking forward to that. So this particular instrument, let's take a look. There she is. Look at that thing. This is a custom guitar, one of a kind. To my knowledge, there may not be any others like it in the world. I've already removed the strings so that I can get started on the process of repairing this. And the first thing I'm going to do, I called the owner of this guitar, and obviously he's a very big Steve Vai fan, as you can tell with the design and the shape of this guitar being a identical replica of an Ibanez Gem. I didn't get all of the details about the guitar with respect to who built the body. I don't know if the owner of this actually built it himself. I did. Let's see if I can get this. Hang on just a second. I got to be careful here. Pulling screws. Yeah, I'm going to be running a screwdriver here for a minute. And there's kind of an important reason I'm doing this. Everything works. There's nothing wrong with the instrument, but I'll show you why I'm doing what I'm doing right now, because I got the strings off it. Might as well take care of this now, because when I'm done working on it, it'll have strings on it. You won't be able to get inside the cavity. So give me a moment here. I know pulling screws is really exciting and fun to watch, isn't it? These screws are really well placed and very solid, so that's good. These are all coming out really nicely. I can tell that the threads on these screws are really well cut into the body of this guitar. But I got one more screw to pull here, and I should be able to pull this off. And it was fun to talk with the owner of this guitar the other day. He was in 2 days ago when he dropped this instrument off, about the construction of the guitar and the Floyd Rose and all that stuff. And he enjoys and loves working on his own instruments. So hopefully he'll get a chance to watch this. But the reason I'm doing what I'm doing here is this. I'll show you. I just felt like, let's make this thing look awesome. See those tags on the pickup wiring? They definitely, the pickups are marked on the bottom side as to what they are. You can see, I'm going to be really careful. They're DiMarzio. This is a DP256FU. This is a DP267FU and another DP268FU. I love that FU. Isn't that cool? But we're going to go ahead and remove these little tags. I'm going to change my blade on my my knife, because you can see them through the top, and I just felt like, you know, when he takes this guitar out, it's going to definitely be a subject of conversation. People are going to ask him, and he's going to want to show people this guitar. And I just felt like those little tags were just kind of almost intrusive with respect to the look of it. So he was cool with me removing these tags. I'm just putting a new blade in my knife here, and I'm going to be very, very careful in cutting these little tags off. And these will go in the case with the guitar, but now the interior of this will not have these little tags showing, which I think it'll look a little bit more streamlined and cool. There we go. So that was really the only reason I wanted to remove the pick guard. I'm going to check this wiring, and I can see that this wire right here, we're going to make sure that all these wires, I can see that this wire right here has been, it's bare right here. There's a little piece of the, I don't know if you can, if this camera shows that, but right here on this green wire, it's definitely got a bare spot on it. And this one, this red wire, has definitely got a little bit of a, I don't know, the wire's definitely been, how do I say this? It's been dented a little bit. I want to do my best to get this back in there and hopefully make it better than it was when it got here. It's kind of like borrowing a tool, or borrowing borrowing an item, you always return it in better shape than it was when you got it. Clean it. You know, if you borrow somebody's car, wash it. You know, that sort of stuff that humans have forgotten all about in a lot of cases, being polite and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do, be very careful with this. I've got a little bit of this plastic or rubber sealer. I'm going to put a little bit of this on this exposed wire to protect it from getting worse and to keep it from creating a short. There's not a whole lot for this thing to touch inside this guitar, but when you got a bare wire and you can do something about it, I say go ahead and protect the circuit. This is just a wire that feeds power to the lights in the fingerboard, and that's all I did. Just took a toothpick and put some of that on there. I'm glad I opened that up and found that. That could have caused him some problems at some point in time. So we'll check the rest of this wire. It all looks good, and I think I can get that thing. What I'm going to try and do is get this wire in here, and I can see what I think what's happening here is that wire is being pushed up against the edge of the neck, because it wasn't. There's a little slot cut into the end of the neck right here and right here, and these wires were not in that slot. So I'm going to do my best to hide these. Maybe find a better way to anchor them in here. We'll see what I can do here. So I've got, let's see. I'll do my best here. This is an unusual situation. There we go. Now I can see that wire is sitting in that slot the way it's supposed to. And now the green wire is sitting in the slot the way it's supposed to. And we'll get all these wires back in the cavity. It all looks pretty good. And I think that looks a whole lot nicer without those tags being on those strings or wires inside here. Looking good. So I think we've maybe solved a little bit of a problem, or potential problem. So we'll screw her back down. I can't see real well. Now I can. Isn't that awesome? Look at that. And by the way, the young man who owns this guitar is a really super fantastic guitar player. This kid has been studying music and writing music. Very complex compositions. So it's really wonderful to see a young man with such ambition in his writing. Looks like something happened to this pick guard right here. It might have got chipped, or I don't know. Something happened right there, but it's all right. And you know, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Yeah, it looks all nice and clean. But there is a little, I'm going to go ahead and, while I'm doing this, I'm going to pull these screws one more time. I want to do something here just to make sure that, because of it being every little speck of dirt is visible. And I can see some spots underneath the pick guard that I can probably remove and make it look a little more tidy. So we'll let me grab a rag. Hope everybody's still doing really well. Light on. Yeah, Jim's very expensive guitars. Holy smokes! And this young man owns, I think he owns two Jims. He might own just one. I'm not sure. And then he also owns, what is the other one? The Pia or the Pi or whatever. The new the new Steve Vai signature from Ibanez. So I'm gonna do my best to clean up the bottom side of this, get all this debris stuff out from underneath it. Might as well, while we're in there, make it super clean and tidy. So and the hope is that this pick guard won't have to come back off of this guitar for a long time. It's like he may have gotten some super glue on this body, and I'm not going to do anything about that. I'll let him. He can pull the pick guard back off of this if he chooses. Just getting every little speck off of here, polishing it up, and then it'll look nice and tidy and clean. I gotta tell you, the owner of my shop is really excited about this guitar. He's so into modern art guitars type stuff. So, and if you can sense the sarcasm, you're doing good. I'm gonna clean up the bottom of this pick guard. I mean, how often do you have to do this? Clean the bottom of a pick guard, really? But we'll get it back on there and make it look all nice and pretty. So when he's performing with this guitar, it just looks fantastic. And I'm being really, I'm not going to say the word, but I'm being really picky about how clean this is. Okay. Yeah, it looks like the pick guard unfortunately got chipped. It was probably when he was putting that screw in here, it may have busted out. And he may join us in the chat today. I don't know. He does work. If you're going to own a guitar like this, you probably have a job, right? And he's a hard-working young man. And let's see. Now, before I get this in here, I've got to make sure to line up these wires again. There we go. Looking good. Okay. Now, we're going to be able to get this thing to sit flush. Where are we holding up? There we go. And thanks a lot. This is not wanting to go down. I think oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Now that looks appropriate. A little bit cleaner. I know I'm being real picky, but boy, this thing is so see-through. Probably a little annoying to watch. We're gonna get to the fretwork. I'm gonna shut the lights off because it's kind of blinding. These lights are really super bright. I'm sorry if my head was in the middle of the picture here. Okay. This is this little chip out right here is really it's unfortunate. I wonder if he'll get a new pick guard for this at some point, just because of that. It's not real noticeable, but is driving screws into a guitar. It's always a fun part to watch. Okay. I'll check the messages here in just a moment, see if anybody's talking about anything interesting. Now these screws are flathead. The tops of these screws are flat, right? And I prefer to use a rounded off screw just for the sake of comfort if your hand goes across them. But these are recessed down into the pick guard. They're countersunk ultimately, so really not a big deal. But I like the rounded screws for pick guards. But these are what he chose to use on this, so more power to you. And I don't know, on a Jim, I don't believe I've actually done work on a Jim style guitar. Hang on just a moment. I'm noticing that some more guck got underneath this pick guard up here on this corner. I have to be real stingy about this, getting all the debris out from underneath this pick guard. There we go. All right. Now, of course, over time, stuff will get underneath this pick guard, and it can possibly get discolored or whatever. So he may have to do a bit of maintenance on this every once in a while. There we go. All right, so that part of the project is all done. Okay, gonna look at a couple of these frets. These are stainless steel frets, I think. He said they're stainless steel, but I just used a file on this one, and it seems like they're filing a little bit easier. I don't think these are stainless steel, which he said they are, but the fretwork on this is not the greatest. I don't know what brand of a neck this is. I think he told me, but I don't remember. And I'm just going through here and knocking these sharp corners and edges off of some of these frets. I'm not going to do them all. I just want to make sure, because this kid uses every single fret on this instrument. And it would be a bummer to get your finger cut on the edge of a fret, wouldn't it? Yeah, I do not believe I don't think these are stainless steel frets, which is good because what I'm going to have to do today.
Hey, he's good. Yeah. That was not at all the format of that song. I said, I know, I was listening too much to Troy and forgot where I was supposed to be. What band was he in? He was in a band called Sweet Cunning and the Stumblers. Yeah. And then he was with the Moss Brothers band for a while. Then
There we go.
Yeah, down in South in Tacoma area. Oh, yeah. But he's got 3 brothers that all play. His brother Billy is the oldest brother, who's a great guitar player.
Being really careful and checking up the fingerboard if I feel anything that's standing out as being a little sharp. I want to knock those edges off.
And Joey and Stu are here. Some time ago here, man.
You've met Billy, my
yeah,
buddy
hey,
Billy
Marshall.
Stoops, haven't you?
Oh man!
How you doing, man?
Good.
If he brings a guitar in and he's freaking out,
Yeah.
you know what to do.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm
Players go first.
anywhere over this area, this is where I would bring it. Because I follow his stuff, man. I see all the stuff you're doing, and you're bringing it. People bringing these guitars. I'm like, dude, you got your hands on a 50. I'm like, Jesus, man.
Yeah. These guys that own these 52 tellies, they're the worst
Well,
customers
there
in the
they
world.
are. They're, just
Check
creaming
this
pie
one out.
assholes,
This is the
man.
guitar you got to use today,
Check this.
Billy.
You ready?
Look at that.
Okay.
There you go.
This is a custom, man. This kid that
Yeah.
lives here had this thing built for him, and that,
Yeah.
you know, unfortunately, there's a couple issues with the fretwork, so
Yeah.
dialing that in for him.
All
but
right.
Fancy.
Nice.
Are you gigging over here?
Yeah, I'm up in Enterprise tonight, courthouse.
Oh,
series,
concert series. Cool.
5:30 to 7, and then tomorrow night at the Steakhouse in Cove,
Yeah.
and then Saturday afternoon at the Grassroots Festival in Union,
Good grief.
like 1:30 to 3. He put all that together.
Right.
Well, he put 2 of them together.
Yeah, I could.
I had to scramble for the third one, the
Right.
Friday
I'm
night.
thinking Friday I'd come up with a good one, but I
And
just,
you know, if I'd have known you guys were going to be up there, I
Totally.
would not even, because I just booked that Friday night like last week with Chris.
Oh.
you could
Because
have played with us.
I got hold of Chris.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I
You
didn't-
guys,
yeah,
bands
and I didn't
playing
hear from
together.
him. And so I was like, maybe I'll just take that Friday off and relax, and then, I'm like, I'll just, I'll get me a room somewhere and just hang out Friday and not do anything. And then I thought, well, I did talk to him, but I can't remember if we agreed on anything, because originally I was going to do Saturday night there. And I thought, I wonder if he ever confirmed that. And I hadn't got any, so I couldn't get hold of him. I got hold of the Cove and the Steakhouse, and they said, well, we'll get hold of him, have him get hold of you. And so I ended up, I had the wrong number. So he got hold of me, and he's like, well, no, I know we talked about it, but we didn't really confirm anything. And I said, oh yeah. He said, well, what was it? And I said, it was Friday night. Because originally he said
those
it was
guys.
Saturday, and he didn't do Fridays. And I'm like, it's a Friday, and I'm looking for the 11th. And he's like, well, I think we got somebody, but let me see if they let me call. I'll call you back in a little bit. And then he called back. Hey, I mean, you got it. And I'm like, okay. I mean,
you might as well knock
Are
the
you
dough
sure?
down.
it pays for my motel.
Totally.
For tomorrow night, and they give me food. And here's the thing.
It's good too.
Yeah,
And,
they have
they
that
said, and they
place.
said, he's like, and we feed anybody that's with you. I said, well, it's just me. He said, I'm just saying, anybody that's with you gets to eat too. So if you guys are hungry tomorrow night,
All right. Hey, man, say no more.
come up to a free
Yeah.
meal.
Right.
Yeah, musicians. I know. It's like, where's the next free meal?
Yeah, and you know what you were talking about with the kid, I think his name is Chris.
Yeah.
Was that who you spoke with
Yeah.
out there?
Uh-huh.
I ran into him out and about, and he's like, "You guys want to come play out, at the Steakhouse?" And and he gave me his phone number, and it didn't work.
Well,
And I was like,
dude.
Dude.
I kept calling.
He
and
gave
texting,
me the number. I
and-
probably
and
gave it to Billy.
And it
Yeah.
said it was disconnected. I
Yeah.
got hold of him the one time, and then then it said it was disconnected. So then he called me back, and I'm like, dude, that's not even the same number I had. So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
but
His
I mean,
booking
I
agents.
was like I say, it was like they're only paying $100.
Yeah.
And I'm like, seriously, man? You know, he goes, that's all it'll do.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just an hour and a half. It's, you know,
Yeah.
7:30 to
The
9.
food's gonna be good. There's gonna be
food's great.
there's gonna be a pretty good. It's a fairly small place.
Yeah.
But people come in there and they listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll work the tip jar, you know.
Yeah, definitely
Absolutely.
open up a
Yeah.
guitar
yeah,
case.
So yeah, it's and then I'm staying at the Union Hotel tomorrow night. And
Oh, wow.
So you know, I thought, well, that's the smart thing is just to stay there because it's the Union Hotel's right next to the park where I'm playing on Saturday.
Yeah, you walk out your door
Yeah,
and
they said-
there's a stage.
So I called up there and talked to the guy. And he's like, well, I asked, who is it, Donna? Is that,
Donna.
yeah, Donna. I messaged her and said, hey, what's a good place to stay locally? And, you know, on Friday she said, you know, Union Hotel, that's it. And so I called the guy. I was like, well, I got the Clark Gable room. I'm like, well, that sounds like me.
Yeah.
Is that your cheapest room? He said, yep. I said, that's me. That Clark Gable, he's a cheap
Yeah,
motherfucker.
tell them to take that swing out on the front porch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't me to get.
You get it? So
Grand stereo?
I'm live on the internet right now. People are watching me
Oh, are
work on
they?
this guitar. No, that's cool.
We're photobombing
I'm lucky. I got Billy Stoops standing right here in front of me, and Mike Mallory. I mean, I'm in their
I'm over here
stardom.
dropping F-bombs and yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry,
Billy,
people.
Billy, you put on the Sunbanks
Yeah.
Festival, right?
Mhm.
That's your
Yeah.
the whole thing. If you guys are anywhere near the Seattle area, Seattle, right? Or,
No, it's in North Central Washington, Grand Coulee Dam.
Okay. Yeah, up near the Grand Cool. That's why that backdrop is always so
Yeah.
gorgeous. Anyway, if you're ever up there and you love the blues or Americana style music, go check that festival out. It's huge, big blues festival, and Wasteland Kings have played it many times.
times.
And then Billy, I think you
Yeah,
play every
played
year,
with
I would
my band
assume.
with the Dirt Angels, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hey, everybody. How y'all
Say
doing?
hello to Billy.
Here I am. Hey, I'm playing at Enterprise tonight. If you're in the area, Courthouse Concert Series, 5:30 to 7. Tomorrow night at the Steakhouse in Cove, and Saturday afternoon, 1:30 to 3 at the Grassroots Festival in Union. There you go, boy. Look at me getting a plug right here
Yeah, indeed.
to the live stream audience. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Cool,
right.
cool.
Well, get back to doing all
Hey,
your good work,
yeah,
man.
I got to get her done here.
All right.
So-
See you guys.
Yeah, Billy.
Peace, brother. Good to
Good
see
to
you,
see
man.
you again. If you need anything or have any
Yeah.
trouble with instruments, don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you can call me 24/7.
Yeah.
I'll help you out, whatever I can do. So
You never know when I'm gonna show up.
that's fine.
All right, brother.
Working musicians come first on my
That's right.
bench.
Okay.
There you go. All right,
man.
brother. That's cool. That dude is one badass blues player, man. And the guy sings. He's just a ball of fire, man. He's awesome. Okay. Really cool. Hello, Pooh Ninja. Good to see you. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
You all right?
Yeah,
excellent.
I'm getting a stereo installed out back.
Oh, excellent. You got that white Ford?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's
Neat old
digging
Ford.
deep on that one. Yep.
But, you know, I just bought me a 1969 Roadrunner,
Ooh.
and it's got just a plain old FM radio, and I want that thing to sound good.
Yeah. What kind of shape is it in? Is it pretty?
It's cherry.
Yeah.
I bought it that way.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I
it's-
had one in '74, and you know, it's too wild.
Oh,
I wrecked it. And we went to car heaven.
is that a situation being young and dumb?
Got it, brother. Partying down.
Oh, that's awesome.
But-
I've never been into. I love classic cars. I mean,
Yeah.
who doesn't? But I never got into like working on them or anything
Oh, I
like
didn't
that.
do the work.
You didn't, yeah.
I just worked hard all my life and saved up, and I always wanted a '69, and I found one down in Klamath Falls. Drove down there and picked it up.
Nice.
But
Nice.
I want to get a stereo and put in it, and some speakers, and I mean,
Nice.
everything in it is.
We can do it, man. And our guys, you know, we work on a lot of vintage cars, a lot of them, and we do it to where not a piece of metal is removed. then nothing's altered. You know, unless you know the owner goes, you know, go ahead and cut that a little bit. You know, and in some cases you kind of have to, because you got a hole that big you can't fit. You know, but we get real creative on
So
where
you're the
to.
guitar repairman, huh?
I am. That's what I do here. In fact, I gotta get some notes, and I gotta stay busy on this thing.
Yeah, it sounds like.
I'm busy getting nothing done.
I've been there.
You got one of the best guys in the world working on your truck right now, bro.
Yeah. What was his name?
Stu.
Stu, yeah.
Yeah, dude, he is a genius when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, he told me he'd have it done in an hour and a half. Blew me away.
22nd. All right, so a little detail about this guitar. Yesterday, when the owner came in, or not yesterday, the day before, I had him play the guitar and show me where he was running into issues on it, because I don't play like everybody else. So one player might be playing their guitar and the 11th fret on the G string is real splatty or kind of dead or having some fret buzz. But if I play it, it doesn't happen. And that's where it's very nice when a guitar owner brings an instrument in that has problems like that I can let them play the guitar and show me where the issues are. And then I can hear them playing the instrument, see how they're playing it, and either offer advice about technique, which rarely happens, but it does once in a while, or I can mark down where the problems are. And I'm going to keep his personal info off of this, but you know, so these are some of the issues that he was having, and you can see the 22nd fret on the low E, and he plays the entire fingerboard. When this kid plays, if you go watch him play, he's playing right up here, and he's using the entire fingerboard. I don't know why this thing isn't focusing. Maybe I can. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Let me check my camera here. It looks like stuff is pretty. Video. Focus. It should be auto focusing. Ah, there we go. Now everything's in focus. I'm going to bring this, and I apologize for that being blurry. Let me apply that. Okay. Am I focused? Yeah, that's much better. There we go. Put an eyeball on the guitar. Yeah, I don't have any. Stick my eyeball on there. Okay, so we're having some high action up here.
So
we're gonna.
This guy right here does USB, aux, AM, FM, and CD, and that guy runs about 140 bucks. Yeah, and then a decent pair of speakers, probably 250 bucks for this. Yeah. Probably about 30 minutes per door. We've got to pull the door panel off and replace the driver, and probably an hour for the deck. So a couple hours. I'd probably say whenever.
Could you?
Yeah. Okay. It's only like 2.5 hours. So we'll have a block of 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Have you got a Bluetooth speaker open over here, Marshall?
I don't have anything Bluetooth. Are you wanting to play some music?
I was going to play him a track off the new record.
Connect it. You should be able to connect it to my computer. Let me make sure my Bluetooth is turned on. Hang on, and it'll. Give me a second here. I don't think my Bluetooth is turned on. Bluetooth.
You know that
Settings. There we go.
that song Caroline.
Oh yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
I told you that.
Okay.
Yeah, we.
So on your
What is it?
phone, connect to laptop one.
Right there, laptop one.
I don't think.
Let's try and.
Add device. Maybe. Billy's iPhone. Allow. There we go.
We had a.
Okay.
We recorded it, and then after we recorded, because I've been playing it for 6 years, right? So we recorded it, and after we recorded it, they're like, "You're gonna have to redo the vocal on that because you're singing it like you've been singing it, which is like a pop song, and we need the gritty thing with your voice." So I had to redo it, but it turned out pretty good. Whoops.
Oh, is that? Are you connected to my?
Yeah, I said it was. I think let me go back and check.
Let me make sure.
Laptop one connected.
Billy's phone connection succeeded. Okay. Hang on. Billy's iPhone. You're connected. It should be able to play through here, I think. I don't know. I've never done this before with
Yeah.
going the opposite direction.
Yeah, it may not. I think it'll. Yeah, it probably. No, it ain't gonna.
It may not do it. Yeah, I don't have a.
Shoot. That's
I don't even have any headphones here. I usually have my Bluetooth headphones here.
I think I sent you a cut or two of mine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Nice.
coming out pretty good.
All right.
I'm happy. And yeah, that's a great tune.
Yeah.
I've played it 2 or 3 times with you.
Yeah.
What song is it?
Caroline. Yeah.
My vocabulary.
It's a rocking song now. I mean, it's like.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you want that song? No, I don't want a song. I don't want it rocking. It does. It's heavy, man. Great guitar work on it. Dylan Warnick played guitar on it, and you know they're all everybody on there's all Nashville cats.
Yeah.
And you know, so yeah, I had to go back and sing it because they wanted me to do more of this the way I, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I wasn't thinking about it, you know, so I had to go in and try to change the way I sang it, which worked out, you know. So it sounds great, but you know, there's a couple of songs on there, and that's what led them in that direction. Was there's a couple of songs where, you know, they're like, that's what we want. So then every song had to kind of lean towards all that style or that kind of.
Chris
thing.
has some of that growl. No matter what I do, I sound like Ricky Nelson.
There ain't nothing wrong with that, man. You know, that's a good thing.
What?
Well, apparently I can't play. I guess I can't play music through my computer from a phone. Let's remove device. There we go. We'll turn Bluetooth off. All right. So right now, and this was a spot, you know, the 15th fret was having some fret buzz, and man alive, this fret is really, really high here, and I can see that it's high. Trying to see if I can push down on it, and I can't. So I'm gonna go ahead and. See if I can tap this thing down. Boy, that one's tall. This one fret is really tall. What's going on with that? It's like it's the slot wasn't cut deep enough. I don't know. My favorite thing to do is to hit expensive guitars with a hammer. Yep. So, yeah, the outer edge of this is just not going down. See, it's level. Everything looks good. And then, oh, look at that. I may have hit it hard enough that we got that one leveled off. Okay. Yeah, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. My camera guy might be a little bit lazy today. Yeah, these frets are just not, they're not okay. So and you do this stuff and you end up chasing frets. So we're gonna, and yes, I am going to level these after I'm done beating the tar out of them with a hammer. I don't like doing it, but we're getting them as level as I can get them with my fret rocker. And then we will go to the point of I'm just going to check each one. There we go. See, small taps like that, it's amazing how much can be corrected by just tapping the fret a little bit. And sometimes when you're using a fret rocker like this, you might be tapping on a fret that's actually not too high, but the one next to it is actually too low. And so you can actually make mistakes, but I can see like that one. Yeah, just a little tap like that takes care of that high spot. Now we're getting a little high out here in the middle. Just being real gentle, and it's a brass hammer, so I'm not actually denting the frets at all when I strike them. I'm actually denting my hammer. Here's what the tip of my hammer looks like, right? And in this area of the fingerboard, he was playing up in here, and these notes were really just splatty and flat. And I can see why, because this fret is a little bit tall. You can't always look at the fingerboard and the fret, but sometimes that will tell a lot. I'm being real gentle. I'm not being aggressive with my hammer. But each time I do that, things are leveling out. And when doing this type of work, you never want to hurry. And given that I know this young man and I know how he plays and how precise his ear is, I have to approach this guitar as if when I'm done, I'm handing it to Steve Vai, and I ain't kidding. All right, so we got a little tall, and what I'm finding interesting here in this process is that where the owner has complained about there being splatty frets is where the high spots are. So now I'm going to double check my work. There's nothing wrong with doing something twice and double checking. The important part is to try not to waste any steps. It's like carrying tools in from the van, the work van. Fill both hands up, not just one, right? I just want to make sure. God, that was so cool to see Billy today. That dude is one badass blues guitar player, and I ain't kidding. That dude can rock. This one, this fret is, I'm not liking what's happening right here at the end of this fret. It's like it's check that again. I know, isn't this exciting? Yeah, and I touch it again, it's like it's not. It's not staying down. I could see that I'm able to physically push that fret down with my finger, and it pops back up. So, here we go. Okay, we are gonna bust out the old CA glue and take care of that. Get that fret. We need to get that fret to stay put. Hey, Richard, what's happening? Richard, have you gotten that? Have you dove into that PV? If you're still here. Have you dove into that PV and gotten it up and running again? I sure hope you have. You weren't playing it last night, but I think you've fallen back in love with Ruby. Is that the case? Just checking. All right, here we go. I'm gonna tilt the guitar. Let me go get a kickstand real quick. Hang on. And this is what I call a kickstand. It's kind of a cool trick if you have to do this sort of stuff to let gravity help in the process. Doing this. Okay, so now what I've done is I put the clamp down there on the bottom of that guitar so it won't tip over on me while I'm working on this part. And I want to get the CA glue here to flow down into this fret, and I'm going to be very, very careful about dropping CA glue on this guitar. If I got any of this on the body of this guitar, oh man, what a mess. I'm pushing with every bit of energy I got to get that thing to stay. And it stayed. Look at that. Okay. But you know, if I'm dragging my rag over the edges of these frets and it's hanging up on them, that just, yeah, unfortunately the fret work on this is not that great. But we'll remedy all of that. We'll do the job that should have been done. Yeah, these are really rough. Even though I've kind of smoothed them out myself, the frets are pretty rough. Richard, I don't know if he responded. Let me look at the chat real quick. Let's see. Hey Zach, what's over? SS Devon. Oh, there we go. Not yet. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody say hi to Devon. The gentleman who owns this guitar is actually in the chat and watching me do some work on his guitar. And, you know, he really loves working on his own instruments, and I commend him for that. And much like Richard has dove into fixing his own guitars and modifying them, Devon is not afraid to work on his own instruments. And look at that. Now that I glued that fret down, it's level and it's staying put. So at this point, we've got a really, really nice level fretwork. I'm just checking everything. I'm gonna go down to oh, sorry, you're not seeing what I'm doing here. My camera guy's, he drinks too much, I think is the deal. I just want to make sure. I mean, imagine working for Steve Vai. I ain't kidding. I've said I ain't kidding way too many times today, but all right. So, Devon, I think you can see what I'm up to here, and I'm just checking to see if these frets are all level up in the area of the neck where you were having issues, and we notably saw the guitar was definitely had some fretting out issues. Okay, so I'm making sure that these frets are all level up here, and then we'll take a sanding block and level them again. Now that I've tapped them with a hammer, there might be small, tiny, uneven spots, and we're going to remove microns of material from the tops of these frets, and then we'll crown them. And what I've done here with the tape is created a little bit of fall away on this one to help avoid having any fret buzz up here in this area of the neck. And this little Homeland fret leveling or fret rocker has been really, really helpful. I've used this, I don't even know how many times. It's seldom that not seldom, I do fret levels, not very often, to be honest. But they come in, and I've done a lot of guitars where I've done fret levels. I have tons of video on that on my channel. So Devon, welcome, man. And Devon, I wonder if you would mind sharing the body of this guitar. Did you build this yourself, or did you order it from somewhere? You know, I'm just curious, and some of these dudes might want to know. I'm really digging this thing. It's super heavy. Definitely a heavy guitar. I'm gonna go ahead and run some tape over the pickups, because they have these shapes and stuff cut out in them, and while I'm sanding on this, I want to keep that powder from getting down inside these pickups. And down inside the actual cavity of the guitar, you'd be able to see it, right? So I'm gonna have to go a little, I usually don't necessarily have to tape the guitar up like this, but I'm gonna do it on this one just to keep any dust out of the cavity here. Let's see. Yeah, Falco. I think I bought mine. I don't know if I bought it at Philadelphia Lutherie, or I may have even ordered mine from Amazon. I don't remember. I try not to order too much from there. It's just becoming a big monopoly, and I'd love to see small businesses be able to do this sort of stuff and carry tools, but they're getting jacked right out of the existence. There we go. Using way too much tape, but that's all right. Okay, here we go with the leveling process. Now on this instrument, and I'm pretty certain that these are not stainless steel frets, so I'm gonna start here. Let me make sure. I'm just checking the clearance over the pickups.
Today's video, we're going to take a
Woo!
look at coffee.
Crank it. I haven't set foot in a Walmart store. I don't know how long it's been. I'm using my smaller sanding block because that large one, the long one, did not seem to want to do what I had expected it to do. Again, I'm taking microns off the top of this fingerboard. So I've started, I kind of roughed them a little bit here, and now my next favorite thing to do is to draw on a very expensive guitar with a permanent marker. And we'll see what happens here with this, and we'll find the low and high spots. So I was definitely hitting this last fret, and he was complaining about fret buzz up here in 23 or 24. I don't really have a good way to check how level this last fret is. There's not one beyond it, so and it's okay to take a little bit more off of that final fret on there. You want it to stay out of the way of the rest of them. And I'm using almost zero pressure. And I am taking my sanding block up above this 12th fret to create a little bit of fall away. And this is the mojo of working on guitars. So now I can see that definitely I'm hitting this fret. This one hasn't even been touched by the sanding block yet. So even checking it with that leveling fret leveler, you can see that that's not perfect. So anytime you buy a guitar or a neck from a manufacturer, you always have to level, or should level the frets. I don't know if Devon did a fret level and crown on this guitar after he purchased it, but I can see that I'm still not even touching this fret right here. I hope you can see that one fret has still got all of the marker on it. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna keep going very gently. I can see, you know, this fret that I glued in place, I can see that the top of this edge of this fret right there is really getting hit a lot. So I can tell that the work that I'm doing here is definitely productive, and we're getting rid of the high spots, which would cause fret buzz, or cause a guitar to fret out. You almost never want to take a file to a single fret. Like, I'm starting to touch this one now that I've moved a little bit, so I've gotten enough material removed off of the surrounding frets that now it's starting to show that it's being touched with the level or touched with the sanding block. And I'm following the radius of the fingerboard, of course. Again, just putting almost zero pressure on the file. In some cases, when frets are really bad, you can actually use your ear because you can hear the sanding block hitting the high spots. It's kind of interesting. So a lot of audible information is very helpful when doing this kind of delicate work. Again, we're removing microns. It looks like I've removed, I've been sitting here sanding on this for, several minutes, and you might think, oh my God, look how much he's taken off. You'd be shocked. I don't even know if it's measurable, the height that's coming off of the tops of these frets. And I am taking my file and going above the tape. You can see that I'm eating that tape away. That gives me a little bit of a tilt with my sanding block. No, I don't buy the $85 sanding block. These ones for leveling frets are perfectly fine. And the way I can say that, and the reason that I know that they're fine, is because I bought them and leveled the frets on my own guitar that I play almost every time I do a live stream. And these things do a fantastic job, and they're really affordable. You don't need to go drop $85 on some big sanding block that it's kind of like buying a pair of Abercrombie jeans. Why would you do that? I mean, unless you just like to show off your wealth, which is fine too. But I can see that, I'm not hitting this fret, so I need to continue to go. And this one is just now starting to get touched, but the center point of this one is not, so that means this is higher. We want to get rid of all of the marker just to the point that I touch the tops of these frets. And then we can crown them and polish them. And these are, as much material as is coming off of these frets while I'm working on this, I'm pretty darn certain that these are not stainless steel. It seems like Devon said that they are, but I do not believe these are. Usually stainless steel takes a long time to get the material to come off of it, to sand on it. And while I'm doing this, I'm kind of running my file, my sanding block, a little bit over the edge to kind of round off these edges and make them real comfortable when he passes over them, so you don't feel them. Now I know you're thinking, man, you're taking a lot off there, man. I'm barely touching this thing. You can see. And we'll clean all of this off, the dust. I'll use Simple Green and a toothbrush to clean all that stuff off of there. There'll be nothing left. And I can see that I'm just now starting to make some contact here, so I'm getting real close to being done with this process, and then we'll we'll crown them off with our crowning file. Getting really close. I can see it coming now. It's getting close. I can definitely see that this last fret, although I may be tilting a little bit on that one, it's definitely was taller than the rest of them. So I'm glad to see that material coming off of there. There we go. We're getting there. And again, I'm putting zero pressure. I'm not pushing down on this sanding block at all. Just letting the weight of the block do the work. This fingerboard probably has a 20-inch or maybe a 22-inch radius. Very, very flat compared to, say, a Les Paul or definitely like an old Fender Tele 7¼ inch radius is amazing. I don't know how dudes play with guitars like that, but one spot right here, it's kind of bugging me. Yep, definitely tall. Let's see what's happening here. Oops. See, I can check these areas where I can see the ink, and I can definitely tell that there's such a subtle little rock, but it's rocking, so we're gonna keep going on this. I need a sip of coffee, man. Let me step away for just a moment. And thanks everybody for hanging with me today. I appreciate it. Oh, Sean, hello, brother. Welcome. Yeah. I love that, Pooh. That's cool. Yeah, I'm the same way. I love it when people bring their instruments in and are willing to play if they have a problem like this and show me where the stuff is. None of us play alike, and so I think I said it at the beginning of the stream, is I can't play somebody else's guitar and make it have the problems that the person who owns it has. The real delicate part is when it comes down to, dude, this fingerboard is perfect. It's your technique, right? Yeah. I wonder. Yeah, I'm just turning the lights on this to see if that's helpful at all for my vision. Not really. Yeah, Pooh, you're lucky to have a guy that'll do that for you, and it's great. And I do highly recommend to everyone watching, if you take your guitar into a tech, play it for them and let them watch you play. And if they're a player at all, they can pick up a lot of stuff. It's like when you buy a car, you always open the trunk first. Always open the, that's one of the times you can say always, because it'll tell you a lot. You know, you bring a guitar into a tech, sit down and play it for them, or stand up and play it, whatever the case might be, and show them what you're hearing, and let them, you know, it helps me. I mean, I was able to write down exactly what frets, and sure enough, today when I check them with my leveling or my fret rocker, That's where the problems were. Mm. More practice, Rogue. We all need more. Forgive me. I'm having to eat a little bit of candy. My blood glucose is a little bit low. I heard my alarm going off. Oh, my phone's just about dead too. I'm just checking my blood glucose real quick. Whew, it's low. All right. Yeah, Devon, that's true, man. You have to enjoy it. And I remember as a youngster, when I was taking lessons and playing in the jazz band in high school. I mean, I'm 16 years old, learning some very, very complex chord progressions, key changes, and chord voicings, and all this stuff, man. It was so fun to sit in my room for literally hours on end and play really slow and get that part, play the lick, and then get to the chord and play the lick and the melody or whatever, you know. And I do my best to not use the word practice. You know, sometimes that can be to some folks, and me in particular, I almost look at it like saying you gotta work, and you know, calling what I do work is hilarious. It's not work. I love what I do, so I just say play. I just play. So when I was playing and practicing, I loved it. So you're one of the lucky ones to love practicing and playing. And you guys, this kid, Devon, that's in the chat right now, I hope that you all can get to see him play or listen to some of his recordings at some point in time, because he does some crazy shit on the guitar. Yeah. Got another call, Pooh. Get him. Forgive me, I have to eat some. I had to take a moment here because I have to eat some.
I got used to the other one. It's definitely more brown. I sort of like the color. Yeah. Something local, Chris?
And when we get done with the fret work on this and getting this fingerboard to fret properly up and down, I'll do a full setup on the guitar to check the intonation. Things can change when you start removing some height off of the fret, so we'll check all that. Devon said that he did an intonation setup on this thing, and I believe that he did, but now that we're doing this type of work on it, we may need to do a little bit of adjusting on that. And he used one of my favorite bridges of all time. It's a Floyd Rose. This is a more modern version of the Floyd Rose that I have on my Ibanez, but it works just the same. Everything about it's pretty much the same. Yeah. Yeah, people don't realize, and Devon, you got to know, I knew you when you were probably before you ever played guitar. So I've watched this young man develop as a guitarist, and it's been quite a neat adventure to observe from the outside. I've never given him a lesson. You know, he's learned from books, and I think through the university here in town, he's done some performances up there that were pretty amazing. And he goes and plays at the open mic quite often here, participates in that, and keeps that thing breathing. So, you know, it's a very important part of our music scene here in La Grande. It would be really great to see him find a band that could hang with him. I think that might be a tall order, though. So my compliments, Devon. And his mom is the sweetheart, and his dad, Ernie, holy shit, that dude smoked my ass on a pool table. I can't even tell you how many times. And it's just, they were so fun. They had owned a drinking establishment here in town. And I've had so many great times in there with his parents. So I miss seeing his mom and dad, and I miss Ernie. Ernie was just a special man. Sweetheart. And boy, he was mean on a pool table. Oh, crazy.
We'll get it done. Not like you.
Okay, I'm taking my time here because my blood glucose was really low, and I need to allow my glucose. I'm sitting here eating this shit. Don't eat Skittles unless you have to. They're really bad for you. All right, you guys, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Forgive me. Okay. Yes. Okay. Give me a moment here. I need to step outside. Did you bring that with you? Okay. Perfect. I need to step outside. Why don't I'll go ahead and put a backing track on. Off from YouTube. Let me just so you got something to jam with if you're Lee will rock. How about B minor? Is everybody cool with B minor? Okay. Let me give me a few moments. I'll be right back. get back to the work here. Let me get my camera changed. There we are. All right, hey, okay, have fun, Roke. Drive safely. Forgotten to eat again. Understood. Okay. All right, we're going to get back to getting these frets leveled, and I've still got a bit more work to do. I'm feeling a lot better. Boy, my blood glucose was really low. It was down around 50. So I took a little bit too much insulin this morning, so I gotta mind that stuff very closely. I'm sorry if I interrupted your rock out jam guitar solo. I guess I could just have a backing track playing the whole time, and you can play guitar and watch one being worked on, I suppose. That would be kind of fun. I recorded a new song last night, yesterday afternoon. It's kind of funny. I don't know if anybody will ever hear it, but there's a funny story behind it. But I won't tell you the title. Mike, am I doing okay? I can see these spots where these low spots are. They're starting to get really close. When you tap frets with a hammer, sometimes they will get small dents in them, or a part of it will be just slightly lower than the rest. It's a very, very delicate process, depending on how the frets are installed. Fender had a great way of doing it where they push them in from the sides, which I really like those, but pulling them is a pain in the neck. You got to be super careful. They're not always easy to push back out. If you got to do a refret on an old Fender that had them done that way. Boy, we're getting close. We are so close. I am just touching that one. I still got a low spot here and here and here. So I'm going to keep working it. I may have to sand on this for another 15 minutes. I don't know. And I'm going up over my tape. I can see that my tape's wearing through here, so I'm going to keep an eye on that. If it goes through the tape, I'll put another piece of tape on there. I don't really want to touch that fret. I hope you can see. Okay, we can get you down here closer, maybe. How's my camera angle? There we go. That good? Y'all dizzy now? Getting seasick? Here we go. Come on, baby. Come on. You might be able to see this one fret where it's really, it was really high out here on the outer edge, but here in the middle it's a little bit lower. You can see that some of them are getting a real wide flat spot on the top, and that's what it takes to get the fretboard leveled properly. All of these little spaces could mean that when you fret a note right here at this low spot on this fret, that the string will make contact with the next one. And with this kid, we do not want that happening. It kills the sustain of the guitar and makes playing not terribly enjoyable. We're getting close. Let's see what's happening down here. I'm just starting to touch there, so that's looking good. Now, in a lot of cases, you know, you can see these where there's these blue spots. I don't know if my camera is showing that. Yeah, you can see those spaces where the marker is still on the fret. And in some cases, those are, you're able to leave minute spots like that. But as wide as this one and these couple are, I'm going to continue leveling until they're virtually gone, or almost completely gone. Picking up the pace a little bit here. I know it looks like I'm removing like a shitload of material, but I'm not. This is microns of material are coming off the top of these frets. Just a tiny little amount. And I can tell that I'm still getting real. I keep saying I'm getting close, but looks can be deceiving. And this is a good example of why you should not use your eyes really to measure anything. You can see this spot is now starting to vanish. So we're getting right down to the edge of saying we're done, but I'm going to keep going. We're almost there. I hope everybody is having a really, really great Thursday. Having a good day at work if you're working. Now I'm starting to hit in this area right in here, that big wide spot, so I'm definitely getting there. I didn't expect to have to sand this much, but you never know until you get started. But what I know is that when I'm done with this fingerboard will be perfectly leveled. Oh, and by the way, before I began leveling these frets, I leveled the fingerboard. I used the truss rod to make sure that the fingerboard is perfectly flat. And in this area of the neck where I'm sanding, with the truss rod, it doesn't bend the neck very much, but a very subtle bend. Then you file them level with the fingerboard being bent one way or the other. When you do bend it to create proper neck relief, your neck relief is now wrong and you'll end up with frets. So you're best to always level the board, not the frets. Level the fingerboard first, and then do your fret leveling, because then you're on a level playing field for getting the job done right. I had to make a very, very subtle move to the truss rod to get it level. And we adjusted the neck relief yesterday, or the day before, when Devon was in here showing me what was going on with his instrument. And you know, it didn't make a major difference, but we did lower the action a little bit due to the neck relief. It had way too much bend out here in this range of the neck, and so we'll get that all perfect for him today. And I'm getting to a point now where I'm feeling like I've done about all I can do to make this thing perfect. Just starting to touch in those spots.
That sounds like that's not what I'm going to go for.
Okay. I've gotten this down to the point where these small spots where there's still a bit of marker existing, in my experience, I think that they're small enough that at this point crowning the frets is going to be the proper move. I'm going to call that good. And trying to find my my paintbrush so that I can knock the dust off of here. Where are you? I need to. Oh, did you hear that? I farted. Farts are awesome. Where are you? Huh.
Okay. Oh, jeez. We only have one left. I'm glad I didn't. So that's what they look like now. They're cool and tiny and small, which doesn't really matter to you guys, but that's what they will do. But the reason why they don't work is that that's what the old pin connection looks like. The new one looks just sort of like a DIN connector, like a printer cable. So,
Well,
but
it's all old, so.
yeah, we can do this guy and something like this, and then this would control this. This is satellite ready, as opposed to the one I showed you, which was this guy, which isn't satellite.
Just out of curiosity, do you have Alpine units here?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I've bought in the last, 20 years or so.
I didn't see an Alp. Yes. Boom. Let me see. Ah.
I don't know how good they are compared to everything else, but I've had,
I like Alpine.
so do I.
Is it that one right there? That is
No, I don't have an Alp. Well, let me make sure.
What's that one with the? Oh, you got another box there.
Well, I thought we had this one, but it's empty. And so then I thought it's in the display, but I don't see it.
What's the one on the top left?
This guy?
Yeah.
Pioneer.
Oh, okay.
So I don't have an Alpine. I thought I did. Let me triple check. Because we got a bunch of stuff stashed right here. Oh, I have a JVC. I have this guy. These are good too. So you could do, I have JVC, Kenwood, or Jensen.
I've got one more dumb question, and
No
right
problem.
now, since it's not taking up space out in your shop
Yeah, no problem.
and everything like that, I've got the old Bronco. What I was bringing the Bronco down here for, a couple years ago, is the Alpine. I've got one of those tough boxes in the middle,
Okay.
and they slid the radio in the
Oh,
tough box,
okay.
so the actual radio is in between the seats. It's an Alpine. It's compatible with the Sirius that it's around that same time. What about just bringing that down and taking the one out of there and putting it in the car?
Mustang. That's fine. And then do you want to?
And then I've got plenty of time to figure out what I'm going to do with the Bronco.
No, we can do that. No problem.
Is that still working? Because that's what it'll plug into, right?
What was that? Sorry, I didn't hear it. Oh, let me go look. Hold on, though. Sorry, I was with somebody.
I mean, we don't have to do that, but I mean.
I'm not sure without looking at it, but there's no reason to think this doesn't work.
Well, they were all. I mean, like I've got a similar system in my truck, and I've got the same thing in my, around the same era or time.
I mean, it's certainly possible without looking. I couldn't tell you for sure, but we'd have to pull it apart and dig into it. Let me go let her on my computer. I'll be right back up.
Well, they don't have it. I don't have to have an outline.
Yeah, I was just gonna make sure that this worked,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
before you could pull everything out.
it's more like pulling it out. I mean, other than the antenna itself.
If it's around the same area, you have the same part, right? Like that?
I don't know.
You want to see something cool?
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Oh. Wow.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
The lights are kind of good. It helps me see a little better when I'm leveling these things or crowning these.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
Everything like that, doesn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
What kind is it?
This is a custom guitar. It was built by a young man who lives here in town. It's basically Ibanez. The Ibanez Guitar Company builds a guitar for Steve Vai, very, very famous progressive
I've heard
guitar.
of him.
You know, he played for David Lee Roth's
Yeah,
band.
I've heard of him. I don't have any of his
Right.
stuff. I couldn't name it, something that he did, but I've heard the name plenty of times.
Steve Vai, if there's the top 5 living guitar players on the planet, he's one of them. He's definitely, the stuff he can do on a guitar. But this is ultimately a copy of his signature guitar that this young man had built with the clear body and all that, and then had the lights and stuff installed in the neck. And so it's really a showpiece, but beyond being a showpiece, it's got to play right.
That always helps.
And yeah, so we're just doing a little bit of
I'm gonna get you a shirt. I'll get you a shirt.
doing a little bit of work on this thing to make it
Right.
perfect for him. This kid is a really good guitar player too. Oh man, this kid's just phenomenal. He writes really complex music.
Wow.
Yeah, good kid too. I call him a kid. He's
Well,
not
you know,
really a
when you
kid.
get when you get closer to my age, everybody's a kid.
Everybody's a kid. Yeah.
Oh my God, a University of Oregon battery.
What is
All I
that?
see is
Oh yeah.
Bill Green.
Yeah.
It's got the right colors and everything.
U of O. Go Packers.
Well, you know, they kind of got that color too.
Yeah.
Especially the old uniforms, man. The old uniforms look just like the old Packers uniforms.
Exactly. That's probably why
until
I'm
we
a
went
Packers.
crazy with Nike in a new uniform every week.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I overheard you guys talking about the stereo and wanting to do maybe an Alpine or whatever, and I can honestly tell you that from brand to brand, there's such a minute bit of difference that it's almost it almost doesn't even make.
yeah,
It's-
I kind of figured for what it's going to get used. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I just,
I was more concerned with finding out if the existing hardware that I've got in there, from my satellite radio would be compatible.
Oh, yeah. That
Yeah.
can be tricky, given you put a new deck in there and it doesn't have the same type of connections or,
That doesn't surprise me in the
yeah.
least because I'm talking about something that's been in the car for probably 15 years, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
things have changed a little bit over 15 years. I mean, God, I look at my, you know, I've got an iPad that, you know, the first generation, and the plug-in it's got is huge
Right.
compared to what it, you know, the current plug-in now, you know, and
Right.
everything.
Well, it's not like companies could, and don't even bring up Apple because they just irritate me to death. But
They've got so many restrictions. People can't
Little-
work on them.
yeah, it's amazing.
I'm leaving.
You out?
I
Okay.
Unless you beg me to stay.
Am I doing okay, Mike?
Well, I don't know. Do you want me to get back there and help you, Marshall?
Well,
Does it say
no.
something? Does it tell you something that he's not begging you to
Oh,
say?
I totally did not expect him to. The guys in the shop won't let me hang out. And
I mean,
Marshall won't let me hang
if you
out.
could see down there by his feet, I think he's got some happy feet going.
At least I won't get
And now,
yelled at the
this
rest of
is
the
my
day.
grandson. He's got him in training, and he won't let me help either.
We've
And you know
trained
why?
him
Because they're all
well.
really smart.
Yeah. You know, I'm a dinosaur when it comes to all this stuff.
Oh, these guys are just so skilled that,
Well, you know, you do this every day, and you know, you just pick up on what works and what, you know.
Chris, the guy that works at the shop, that's my son. He won't let me hang out there either. Did I tell you this? I just suck symbols.
Yeah, there you go.
My car's running, right? There's a couple other things we gotta do to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Coco Gun's gonna detail it and wax it, stuff it and everything for me too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to
I'm
do that.
excited to see it when it's done. He's good.
I would love to have somebody detail my car. They would hate it, but
Yeah. Coco Gun's really good.
No, I don't. You know, I mean, I can do something besides Alpine. I mean,
yeah.
Pioneer's been around forever. JVC's been around forever. I mean,
Yeah, I went from a Kenwood deck that I had installed, I don't know, 15 years ago. I didn't work till the day
yeah.
I
I had a
started.
Kenwood, I had a Kenwood that died before I got my first Alpine.
Right.
And I just went with Alpine, you know. I mean, that's the second one that I've got in that car.
Yeah.
You know, I
I
went
mean-
with the Alpine just because, hey, you know, I like the way the first one worked really well.
Yeah. And it lasted and it was dependable and all of that. I get it. And there's definitely that detail. I'm not discouraging you from getting an Alpine. I would never do that because they make great products, and you know, we usually have a bunch of their stuff in. You know, and Chris may come
No,
up
I
with
was
something.
just, you know, I mean, I just figured it was worth asking if you had them. And,
Yeah. Yep.
you know, and
But
then
the-
I was curious about my Bronco. I got an old Bronco, and it's an old '68 that.
Cool.
I can't remember what the circumstances were, but the radio itself got disconnected.
Uh-huh.
And I brought it down here a couple times, and you weren't able to. You know, it was going to be kind of a deal to put me on the schedule.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys put me on the schedule, and I never quite made it down here for a couple of tries like that.
So we
Sure.
were going to put in a deck, but now they're thinking they might want to swap a deck from a different
No,
breed.
I don't need to do that.
Okay.
You sat here and talked long enough.
Well,
I talked him out of it.
I would have to replace the one in the Bronco. I mean, all doing it this way would be to buy me some time. But I don't know right now. I don't know if the Bronco's going to start to where I could even drive it down here, because you know the reason why I'm not driving it right now is there's a loose wire somewhere and it comes loose. They reach underneath the dash, jiggle it around, and get it to start again. Well, I don't want to get halfway here and have it die on me. So.
And it might be cheaper. It sounds to me like the labor and what you were wanting to do would be more expensive than just do it, putting it in your
Yeah, I was thinking about that part of it too.
But
Now-
you do want to do serious, right? Or do you care? You want to do serious in the Mustang?
What else is there? I mean, it's the only satellite radio, isn't it?
It's the only one.
XM.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I want that because I do use that more than anything in there. I mean, more than I play CDs, more than I. Because basically, it just had everything that I ever wanted to. You know, it's got all
I'm gonna
kinds-
leave you in Steve's hands. I'm gonna help Matt. All right, you go find me on the counter there.
Okay.
All right, so you we did not put a deck in the Mustang yet. But Chris had it up in the shop, and I was trying to finish the other one up so I can move over to your car to put
So
that deck in it.
what? I mean, the deck is just dead, more or less.
I didn't even look. Like I said, I was going to move to your car. I thought Chris was on it, but he was on another.
All
car.
I got was what Lori told me, and when Lori called me, I
Then it
was.
was burned out.
Oh, the deck's burned out?
itself, it would-
Okay.
What happened was it would come on and just sit there, and it just more or less finished by it.
Oh, so the deck's cooked.
Yeah,
So you need a new deck,
Yeah.
and then you were thinking about adding satellite radio to it? Is
yeah.
that what you
It
wanted?
has satellite, but it's not, this is it, it's not up to date, so it's gonna.
Yeah, that won't work with anything. No.
Yeah.
Will the
Alright.
old antenna that I have work?
Is it already on the car?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they're a little different style plug. It's because the old Connect stuff, there's 3 different plugs for that. I'd have to look at it. But I don't know where the wire's hanging, so basically it's,
Well, the antenna, I mean, you'll find it when you look for it, but when you get the thing in the shop. But the antenna, if you look on the hood of the car, you know, it's white, but there's a black strip from side to side where the windshield wipers come out of. There, you know, it's got the little vent things and all that stuff.
right.
And there's this one little flat spot there that, I mean, I swear to God, it looked like it was put there just for the satellite antenna.
Okay.
And that's where the actual antenna is located, is right there on the right in front of the driver's side window. It's on that piece of black.
Is it plastic or metal? Because they don't work as well on plastic. They just don't.
Well, it worked all the time I mean, it worked fine when I drove it.
Okay.
See, I haven't driven that car for a couple of years now.
No Mustang? Yeah.
I mean, you know, I kind of have more fun driving the old Bronco around than I do the Mustang. And my truck is my primary.
Okay. Now, so first off, you have no deck in there right now, so you have no audio. So we need to figure out what you want to do there. And do you want to add satellite radio to it?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, you're looking at either a JVC or a
And I'm guessing that if I were to upgrade to a new satellite, it would probably have a new antenna.
Yeah, it comes with the antenna and everything. Yeah.
So.
Sometimes, and now this is what I do when I install them. If it makes sense to use the antenna that's already there, I give you the other antenna. So in case down the road, because there's nothing worse than if you start to do rig swapping.
Yeah, you might need it in the Bronco.
You say if you decide to do some swapping around, so I'll make sure you have all your parts. So.
Well, the only thing that needed to get done with the Bronco was it needed to be reinstalled.
Okay.
I mean, everything, as far as I know, everything was working.
Did you need this?
Well,
Is that
let's
right?
yeah, but let's get it.
But it's kind of right now. It's kind of just.
So let's think the Bronco's not. So let's think about the Mustang and let it get it out of the way, and then we'll tackle that Bronco next.
Okay.
So, did you want the? Was Chris taking the Kenwood or the JVC? Did he show you?
Well, he didn't show me anything other than I'm looking at the boxes.
All
Yeah,
right.
because he wanted Alpine, but you don't have an Alpine. Do you want to go with the JVC?
I don't know. What's the difference, and what do you recommend?
This is a great deck. This is a display slider. This one, the display's a little complicated. That's the only difference I can audio-wise and I can find.
What's the cost?
I'll have to look that up real quick. I just installed one of these. It was $260 installed.
No, I don't mind Kenwood. I mean, I don't
Well,
mind
we
JVC
get
either.
there's still tons of them, both of them, and they're both comparably good decks. So
But if the display is easier to read on the Kenwood, then that probably would
that would be a
work for me.
great choice right there. And then, because that has a CD player in it. And then it also has the Bluetooth enhancement and all that. So that'll be handy. And then we'll install that. Let me give you a price on this.
$100 you said.
Yeah, we can usually do this more than that usually, but with means we're pairing it up with the deck. We can do that.
Okay. Does he need this?
That is absolutely, I would just.
Otherwise known as garbage.
Throw it away.
That's one of
He's
those
trying to be
things-
nice.
That's one of those things that end up on the shelf in the garage, and it sits there for about umpteen number of years until it's really outdated.
Yeah, well, I think somewhere in the basement in my house, I've got another one of those that's just sitting down there too. So
Let's see if we can pull my case parts here.
Oh, okay.
This one, just to see if it makes sense to use this end of it. If it does not, I will replace it with a new one.
well, now I'm kind of curious if the part you just took off is compatible, would work with that Kenwood.
No. I was looking for just this end so I can match it up in the shop, so I don't have to do a bunch of bug reading and
Okay.
digging. And if this is the right one, I will. Because all they did is they used to go.
No, I was going to say if you're going to wind up using it, then what do I need to get the
This
new
is the
one?
only piece to keep. This is the only piece you need to keep until I'm done with the install. Because I might need this, I might not.
Okay.
That is absolutely.
Why don't you take it home? You know, you can
I will. Put it in my garbage.
you put it on your you can put it on your mantle and you know and look at it. You know, this is what I borrowed Ed's car and screwed up the radio.
I
Now,
didn't
what,
screw up the radio.
So how are your speakers on?
I've never heard of it.
Okay, so first thing we need to do is get a deck, and it has an aftermarket deck in there right now, correct, the Alpine? Old Alpine is.
Are we talking her car or my car now?
Your car.
Oh,
It's
okay.
his car.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's do that out here. On the.
I mean, I'm not even her husband.
Okay, I just know that she's the only person I've seen earlier. So, okay, on the Mustang, are we putting this deck and this satellite dinner in there? And
We are now. I mean,
okay, that's my question. Now, are we putting speakers in the Mustang?
I have no idea.
Chris wasn't sure if they worked or not because we couldn't get it to come on.
I'm assuming they're good. I mean,
Is it a mock audio system or a shaker or anything like that? You ever heard those?
I think I've heard a shaker. I think they're just, in fact, I think they're Alpine speakers.
Okay, so you think might be aftermarket speakers?
Oh, they're definitely aftermarket.
Okay, well, let's assume that they are.
I mean, that's a 20-some-year-old car, so I mean, I'm on my
Because I see a lot of Mustangs. I do a lot.
I'm on my second or third time around on stereos and that thing.
Oh, okay. So, but it was working with the Alpine at one point, and you were enjoying it, and it was great.
Well, everything worked great.
But now it's dead, and we need to replace it. So basically, you just need to move forward and get her in there.
But I just couldn't tell you how well what kind of shape the speakers are in.
So basically, we want to do a deck and satellite in there and see what it sounds like.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So we're, I said 260 and 100, right? That's 360. Let me get this in there for you.
Might as well.
I'm taking off, Stu.
Well,
That came right down.
yeah, I called him.
You
and
were
he said he was
talking
on his
about
way.
leaving like 10,
I
15
know,
minutes
but-
ago.
So soon?
And
You're even slower getting on the go.
Yeah, he's gonna stop down.
Getting
just a
on the
little
move
bit.
than I am.
I'll leave you. I better go, or I'm not gonna get home before dark.
All right.
See you later, Mike.
Okay, so let's. You want to do this today? Because I'm ready to do it. I gotta do it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Put a deck and this deck and satellite in there.
if she had to drag me out of bed for this, I want to get it done.
Oh, one of those things. Okay.
Well, not literally drag me out of bed. I mean, she did it over the phone, which is scary enough.
Okay, so let me.
You want to just call me when it's ready?
Somebody asked me once if we were married, and I said, "Oh hell no."
Hell no.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah, we just fight like an old married couple.
There you go. We have some of the neatest people that come in here. Ask me why I love my job. So I'm going over my final pass with some 2000 grit. I've gone 600 or 400, 600, 1500 to 2000. And my hope is that these frets will look identical to the rest of the frets on this fingerboard. They should. But I believe that these frets may have a little bit better crown. I can't say for sure. We'll know, because I will get strings back on this and not too distant future here. I had to kind of bite my tongue because we were negotiating a stereo installation for a vehicle. So now I'm just keeping my nose to the grindstone, keeping busy. One more. Boy, these look great. And now there's zero grit from leveling the frets like I did. Knock the dust out of here. What's that, Stu?
I'm just going to take about 5 or 10 minute break.
I'm staying here for lunch.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to run right out and take a real quick break and pull the car in the shop.
I'm not going to leave today. I've got too much to get done. I'm going to eat here at work. I usually go home for lunch, but I'm going to go ahead and stay here today and stay busy on this instrument so I can get her done. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use my favorite polish. If I can find it, there it is. I'm going to use some semi-chrome on this, and then we'll clean the fingerboard and treat it with some linseed oil. Get that all back in business. There's a multitude of ways to go about polishing frets. You can use a mechanical method with like a Dremel tool with their polishing agent. That works fantastically. But if you ever do polish frets with the Dremel tool, you've got to be careful, especially if the guitar or the fingerboard has binding, because you will melt right through it, because a lot of heat generated by those polishing bits. And ask me how I know, because I've had to replace binding on a fingerboard by making that mistake. Fortunately, it was my own guitar, so I got to be bad at myself and created a bunch of work for myself. So I've kind of stepped away from using the grinding method of a Dremel tool simply for that reason. I rarely use a Dremel to polish frets, but it really does a good job. But this semi-chrome polish does every bit as good of a job. So I've gone with semi-chrome, and it's usually a little bit faster to go this method versus using a Dremel tool. But I have no problem with the Dremel tool. They are fantastic for polishing frets. They really do a good job. And I can see that the work that I've done on these frets is going to keep the entire fingerboard looking consistent. So I'm going to go ahead and polish all of the frets real quickly. The frets are in the fingerboard are really clean. It's very new. So I'm just going to continue going with this. These hardly need anything. I'm just kind of knocking a little bit of the dullness off of them, so they'll look nice and pretty. And let me, I know you can't see what I'm doing up here. I'll get you up here where you can see. I'm gonna have to order lunch here pretty quick. I'm getting hungry, I can tell. All right, so you can't tell that any work was done, and that's the idea. Yeah, it looks like there's a couple of divots here in a couple of these frets. I can see a little spot right here where there's a divot in the fingerboard, almost as if the string got pushed down into that fret. So again, I kind of have a hard time believing that these are stainless steel frets. I don't think they are. I think, and I don't know if Devon is still watching or if he's still in the chat, but I'm really curious if you ordered stainless steel frets, because if you did, I don't believe you got them. I don't believe these are stainless steel frets at all, just given what I'm seeing here. This little divot right here, and we're gonna have you, I'll string it up, I'm not gonna address that right now, but bending a string over this little divot right here, you're probably gonna feel that. And there's another couple of divots on this fret also. So on the 2nd fret and the 4th fret, we need to see if we want to address those issues. And that would mean doing a full leveling the entire fingerboard at that point. So we might want to consider that, my friend. I'm going to go ahead and this on here. And I need to put some paper under this. This is going to look a lot dirtier because my toothbrush was already had a little bit of guck on it. I'm going to do my best to not get any of this stuff over the edge of the fingerboard. I don't want it to get down inside that body cavity. Look at that. That's gorgeous. Shiny and bright. Beautiful. When I string this up, I'm going to go ahead and use the strings that were on the guitar already. They're fairly new strings, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and use those to do a little bit of the work that's left to do on here. And just so I can test to make sure that I've gotten rid of any of the fret buzz that was happening on this thing. And there was definitely a problem. It wasn't a technique issue. It was definitely, these frets were not installed or leveled properly. when this fingerboard was built. Look at that thing. What a gorgeous piece of wood. And the beautiful inlays and such. Very cool. Beautiful guitar. Forgive me for not commenting in the chat much here. I want to stay on task and get this thing done. I've got students arriving this afternoon. I think my first student is at 3:30 and my last student is at 5:30. So every half hour I get to have a new youngster in here learning to play guitar. All right. Looking good. Yeah, and I've gotten all these sharp edges knocked off all these frets, so they feel the neck feels pretty good and comfy. Oops, sorry. All right. And my camera almost fell over, of course. Okay. Okay. Boy. I'm gonna get all this wad of sandpaper. You never have enough sandpaper. Never say never or always, right? I'm going to address some of these edges again. Now I'm being really nitpicky about this here, which that's my job. I don't know where this neck was built, but I don't want to talk bad about anybody's work, but this fretwork is not very nice. Not very well done, I should say. Get you up here where you can see what I'm up to. My camera guy's probably sleeping on the job. That string just will not stay out of my way. All right, that's feeling a whole lot better. There's still a little bit of stuff here, but I don't think that's going to be intrusive to playing. So one thing I am going to do here is, you know, I'm going to hold off on doing that. I thought about it, but all right, that's looking really good. I'm feeling good about how that's looking. And I can see that I've gotten simple green underneath the pickguard. So I'm going to have to lift that and get that taken care of. I got to pull a couple screws again. Woo! Boy, I almost stuck myself with my my knife. Where's my? There you are. All right, so I can see that when I used the simple green on there, I was not successful in keeping it out from under the pickguard. So I've got to go through this one more time here. We'll get this simple green out from under. That'll leave a big old stain in there, and I cannot allow that to happen. The other side looks really good. Nothing got under that. So I'm going to use a paper towel here. Pick up on this. Yeah, you can see that. Hopefully you can see what I'm talking about here. Let me get a the world's greatest lutherie tool right here. Oh, come on. Nice. All right. Looking good. I'm feeling better about that. That is now, that area of the guitar is nice and clean. It's all the little things that you got to do sometimes to, of course this is a very unique situation because every speck of dust you can see. So I may have found a new least favorite type of guitar. Because currently my least favorite type of guitar is a shiny black one. Ugh. Ugh. I mean, they look neat for about 10 seconds. And then there's nothing but fingerprints. I guess they're sexy. Is that what it is? They're sexy. I gotta clean my. What the hell is that? Wow. Big old lot of guck out of the. Cool. All right. Well, let's throw some linseed on her. Use a real light coat of linseed oil. This thing was probably, I'm sure that Devon probably oiled the fingerboard already, but now that I've cleaned it and removed probably some of the oil treatment that he had on here, I would hope that he would have treated the fingerboard, but if not, it's getting a new treatment here of just straight up linseed oil, and just a tiny little bit goes a long way. Tiny little bit. I'm going down the side of the fingerboard because it's bare wood also. We'll make that all look nice and pretty. Alright, oh, I'm sorry, you're not seeing what I'm doing. Look at that. My camera guy's sleeping on the job again. I'd love to hire a camera operator. That would be so cool. I just wonder how some YouTube channels are able to do that. Probably trust fund money. All right, you can see the even after doing all that work on the frets, that the edges of them are still hanging up on this piece of paper towel, which it tears really easily, but it's just there are, you know, and I'm running my finger down the side of down the edges of the fingerboard just to make sure that they're not digging into my fingers, and they're not. So I'm gonna wipe them down one last time with the rag, and we're gonna put the strings back on it. I might need to answer the phone. Oh, somebody got it. All right, so also want you all to notice that Devon, when he strings up his guitar, he does it properly with a Floyd Rose, which is awesome. And it appears that he does it exactly like I do. And with the Floyd Rose, you cut the entire windings and ball end off all together. And I'm going to go ahead and loosen these strings so that I can get enough. And he did not Arnold Schwarzenegger the locking. When I undid those, it took very, very little force to loosen the locking system on this thing. Now they're loose right now, of course. But this kid knows how to do a proper string change. Ooh, careful. Proper string change on a Floyd Rose guitar. Cool thing about these locking mechanism on the top here is that you don't have to tilt the bar all the way forward and get underneath here. So that's kind of a cool design on this version of the Floyd Rose. We're gonna see if our fruits of our labor. Make sure. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the treble E string on next. Again, I'm just using the strings that were on it already. I think that they're fairly new. And if they're not, dude does a good job of keeping his strings in good shape. Probably not a real heavy sweater is what I would guess. you sweat a lot when you play, your strings are not going to last as long. But and of course, this does not, this isn't the easiest thing to do, to reuse these old strings, but I'm going to do it just because I can, and to remember how frustrating some shit can be. And in fact, on this one, I'm going to go ahead and cut the bend off of it. Oh, come on. And start over. Now the reason I'm doing this is because this side of the bar is wanting to lift, so I'm gonna get this treble E string on, and that'll hold the assembly down properly. So I just took a little bit off the length of that. There we go. All right, let's get the rest of these in here. We'll know here in just a couple minutes whether or not all this work did any good at all. I'm able to do these wound strings without having to cut the excess, the little bend off of it. Having some fun now. Bless you. Again, not an Arnold Schwarzenegger moment. Just snug it down. Now, of course, this string is going to want to fight me. So I love the fact that put strings on his guitar and did not tie them in a knot. Well, my blood glucose is telling me that it's low again. Oh no. Well, I may have to go back on what I said here. I might have a little trouble getting this one on here. This one didn't have quite as much string wrapped around the machine head. I'll do my best here. Probably going to put a new set of strings on here anyway, but oh, come on. Are you kidding me? Oh, come on. This is your typical never forget who you're messing with here, because if it can be hard, it will be hard for me and me alone. If anybody else was doing this, they'd already have this string on the guitar. Never forget who you're messing with here. I know you probably, my camera's not pointed in the right spot, but that was awful tricky. And always, there we go. There we go. I'm sorry my camera guy's still not staying sober, I guess.
And those are also a little longer in case you need the length. You know,
Oh, come on.
never know. It's going on like that.
Sweet. Oh, dropped C. Drop C. Oh. Yeah, I need to eat something. I'm gonna call and order some lunch real quick. I need to eat something. Rick Beato put out a new video today. Damn, come on. Boy, my blood glucose is really staying low today. I'm not sure why. Okay. What I'm gonna do, I gotta call Devon, make sure of how he's tuning this thing. Seemed like he was in drop, like a drop C. I could be wrong. I'll have to call him. I'm gonna go ahead and put on a backing track and point the camera at the beautiful guitar, and we'll light it up. Look at that. And I'm gonna open up a backing track to let y'all jam with if you'd like. Yeah, boy. Thanks you. Okay, and let me make sure that I'm very clear on that. I love Rick Beato, and I think he's one of the smartest teachers and most conscientious instructors and musical knowledgeable musicians in the history of music, and definitely in public eye, and it's wonderful that he's done all he's done. But I still will argue until I'm dead that the major seventh chord of the major harmonized major scale, okay, when it's a triad, it's a diminished triad. But when it's an actual a chord of more than 3 notes, and a diminished chord is incorrect. And it's taught as diminished in academia and by Rick Beato. And I understand the whole triad thing, but what? Do we only get to play triads as chords? Is that what they're saying? Because if you play a full chord, if you play a diminished chord, it's an incorrect chord. So teaching it as being a diminished triad, I guess that's okay. But I mean, and I meant no, I absolutely respect Rick Beato. I hope to get to shake his hand someday for all the stuff that I've learned. And I've been a member of his YouTube channel at the mark of 30,000 subscribers, not 3 million. I've followed him for almost the beginning. So tell me I'm wrong. Somebody tell me I'm wrong, because I did have people chime in. Well, you're talking about triads, and you're right. We are talking about triads. It's not a diminished chord. It's a half diminished chord. Hey man, this is Marshall. Hi, I would love a turkey sandwich with waffles. Okay, thank you. All right, see you then. Bye. Yeah. It just bugs me a little bit. And, you know, my guitar instructor, when I was in high school, has made that argument about at college level calling the major 7th chord a diminished chord when it's not. And I painted a very clear picture of it. In the key of E major, there is no note named C in it. And if you play an E flat or a D sharp diminished chord, the note C is in it. And it's harmonically incorrect, melodically incorrect. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to put on a backing track. I'm going to call Devon, make sure of how he's tuning this instrument, and then we'll make sure that this thing does what it's supposed to do after I've done all this work. And I'll have to do some setup work after the fact, but I want to check, make sure that the fret level did what it was supposed to do. If anybody wants to play, give me a second here. Look at that. I'm live on the internet right now. That's cool. Let me see. I'm gonna pick a since we're working on a guitar inspired by the one and only Steve Vai, I've picked a backing track that is noted as E Lydian, which E Lydian is also B Ionian. It's the 4th mode of the B major scale. So you could solo to this using, let's see, G sharp, the G sharp blues scale. You could solo to this using the let's see, or the G sharp minor scale, or just go at it from the E Lydian mode. Here you go. I'm gonna bring this one up, and we'll Oh, I've got to, let me stop that real quick. I've got to put an audio source on this. Give me just a second. I've got to go to my OBS. Let me add, properties. Oh, I can't. Let me cancel that. Let me go here. Let me add. Okay. So I'm going to go to this. Desktop audio. Oh, there we go. It's already there. Let me hide that. Let me, I'm organizing my. Let me mute that and hide that. All right, there we go. Okay, so here's a backing track in E Lydian. I love the Lydian mode. I'm going to let you all have at it with this thing while I go grab a bit of lunch. And I'll be back to eat. So I've got to end the stream right now. I've got students for the rest of the day, and we'll probably be back tomorrow with the final work on this guitar. So we'll get her done. Thanks for hanging with me today. Sorry about the long break. I was hoping to get to eat lunch, and I got busy today. So have a wonderful Thursday. Peace.
You're just busy, aren't you?
Oh.